All right, it's the next morning. My combine's sitting in the shop. That can't be a good thing. It put us a couple gashes up there in the pan where, you know, it throws material off the chopper. All right, got our new belt out here, getting ready to replace it. We got our tension release from the belt. We got our belt splice moved there to the middle, so now it's just a matter of unbolting it, pulling it through, pulling a new one through, and hopefully bolting it right back up. That bolting back up is going to be hard because you gotta pinch it together there at the seam, but we've done it before. Hopefully it'll go a little easier this time. Slack in that bearing there. Like that. Might need to replace it too.
Punch it up.
That's
why I said punch it up.
Fold it. All right, now we finally got it figured out. You gonna remember how we did it next time this happens?
Yeah, I'm mental image of what we're doing right now.
Because the time that I remember when I did it back in 18, that way didn't work out too well. Started out by hooking some ratchet straps to some vice grips on each side, just trying to pull it together to where we could fold it like that and pinch it. And I mean, it got us close, but getting those first ones started was a bear. And then what really sped this up was these straps right here. We would go ahead and hammer the bolts into the outside strap, and that made putting it together a whole lot easier.
A whole lot easier.
I might be referencing this video here in about another 6 years on how we did it. This video is going to be more of a how-to for me to do it rather than y'all to do it. Almost there. We've got the last few straps to put on there and tighten it up, and ought to be ready to go. All right, it is now almost 5 o'clock. What should have been a 5-minute fix to replace a couple of broken knives has turned into a 24-hour ordeal, replacing knives, replacing belt, replacing bearing, making like 3 runs to the parts store. But I think everything is ready to go. So let's see if that. I know the knife's fixed. Let's see if that center draper turns now. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, maybe we can get a little bit done this evening. What do you say?
Every day, all the time.
All right, it's the next morning. My combine's sitting in the shop. That can't be a good thing. We cut on 15, 20 acres on that new farm, and good Lord, I hate new reclaimed pasture farms going into crop. They pain in the butt. But anyway, in the span of that 15 acres, I think I changed 6 knives on the cutter bar. And then what shut us down is we lost some chopper knives. I don't know, some kind of debris. I don't know if it's a chunk, old cattle equipment or something went through the rotor, knocked 3 of my knives off. Not only did it knock 3 of my knives off, it put us a couple gashes up there in the pan where, you know, it throws material off the chopper onto this pan that deflects it to the spreaders. And anyway, there's a plastic fuel tank up above and there, and I think the knife missed it, but we've got to repair that. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut some flat steel plating, some armor plating to about the right size of this panel and weld it up there. So Andy, you know what your job is.
Oh yeah.
Getting those chopper knives replaced.
You got it.
I hate old cattle farms. They are such a pain in the butt. All right, got us a nice piece of flat steel to cover that one panel. It's definitely a whole lot thicker than the tin metal they got on the backside as it is. If a chopper knife goes through that, I'll be surprised. I don't know if I can find a place to ground the welder at.
Maybe you can just do it to this bolt right here.
There we go, maybe that'll do it. Come back this way some. And I want it off of this because I don't want to weld it up to that strap. Flip it around. All right, that should hold it in place so I can get the rest from here. All right. That ain't the prettiest thing, but it ought to be pretty functional, and maybe this winter I'll look at covering this up too. But for now, we got the worst damage protected, and we gotta get back to the field. All right, everything is fixed on the combine. We finally made it back out here. We gotta hurry up and get this done, get moved over to Dunlap Farm, because I got University of Tennessee and Pioneer coming out at 2:30 to harvest bean plots, so we gotta get those laid off. But anyway, I'm not gonna take any risks on the rest of this farm, being as how it's a new farm and there's stuff out here that we don't know about. I'm gonna cut the rest of these beans that I can cut with my cutter bar tilted back. Now, that might leave a few beans on the ground that the combine's not able to get, but it's still better than breaking knife blades or pulling a big chunk in and breaking chopper blades. Normally we reserve that cutting with a tilted bar cutted back when we're cutting double crop beans at night, just try and get that cutter bar up out of that damn wheat straw, but it's going to serve another purpose today. I ain't pulling nothing else in this combine that's shutting us down. And we're going to leave some beans over here. All that over there around the cell phone tower's got a ton of replants in them, and still a bunch of green beans over there. And you can see there's a few scattered places of green beans out here where we had some of that Liberty resistant seed. But the main thing I was concerned about was all through there next to where I started cutting. We've got that slough that I filled in, and anyway, it's ponding water back over here in this corner pretty bad. I didn't realize how important that drain was. And so anyway, we got those beans cut, and I've got a precision ditcher lined up to come out here probably next week, and he uses RTK GPS to determine the elevation and where exactly you need to run some ditches, and it precisely controls the height of the ditcher to grade it on to make you a drain on grade to where it drains out. And we're not talking about just your standard PTO ditcher. This is a big pull behind one that's got a big rotary spinner on it, and it probably makes, I don't know, like a 7 or 8 foot flat bottom cut, and ought to work real good over there in that area. So my main concern was going ahead and getting enough beans off of here where he could get over there and get that job done before we get too far into fall and then it gets wet and just can't do a good job. I know y'all can't see it, but I got another freaking knife section broke out here. God, I cannot get done with this farm soon enough. I hate old pasture ground. All right, quick fix, and we're back going again. I was wanting to show y'all, see this hillside right here? That's where I did a bunch of pushing with a dozer, try to make it a good farmable hillside, and surprisingly, it worked really well. Very little soil erosion and washing on that, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. I mean, it's still pretty dang steep, but it can be farmed. Now we just got to get over here pretty quickly and get a cover crop drilled on it. We're going to drill it where I did all the dirt work with the dozer and everything on that spot and a couple other spots. But we're not going to cover crop this whole farm, surprisingly. And the main reason for that is that this farm it's just plain old rough. I mean, it's bad rough, and as much as I hate to do it, it needs to be plowed up real good, smoothed out, because I can't keep on farming this farm the way it lies right now. So we're going to leave a cover crop off of it. That'll make tillage next spring work a whole lot easier. Won't have to make as many passes over the land. But the highly erodible spots that we plowed up last year, those are good. We're not going to have to plow them up next year. We'll go ahead and throw a cover crop on them to make sure they don't wash away this winter. Alright, we're just about done with the University of Tennessee and Pioneer variety plots. Heck, I think we cut like 24, 25, 26 plots, something like that. So normally I would post plot results, let y'all know in case you're interested in some of these varieties, but I really don't want anybody making decisions next year based on this data. These weren't some great plots. We had some scattered three-corner alfalfa hopper damage through the plots that that would make these results not really a true reflection of how good the varieties are. So I think these plots, they probably average somewhere around 45. Not great or anything, but had a bunch of insect damage, and over here in the drought, that's the kind of yield you get. All right, We'll scratch what I said. Those plots did a lot better than what I thought. They probably averaged around 55 or so. So anyway, I get when I get the full data from them, I'll post like the top several varieties, because you know the ones that we thought would show out should show out. They did show out, so I'll let you know at least what the top few varieties were. But I'll go ahead and tell you, the ones that we planted right here came in like number 2 or 3 or so. I'll be so glad to get done with this field. I've been looking at it all year, and it's just been ugly with the replants, short beans, and just generally just a screw up from the get-go. The greenery's not near as bad over here, because we were starting to run through the Liberty resistant beans left over from double crop, although on this side of the field it's definitely worse than this side over here. But those green beans you see scattered out there are the Liberty resistant variety that we were planting double crop. The real ugly looking gray is original planting that was survived, and then the brown that you see are the 42896s, the seed I bought that to replant it with, that are non-Liberty resistant. So as you can see, it's a cluster out here. Not proud of it. Made a bunch of mistakes, but it is what it is. It's now being cut, and now I won't have to look at it anymore. We just don't show the good out here. We show the bad also, including the bad that's caused by me royally screwing up. But on the other hand, even though the chemical that we sprayed through the drone did not do the job I wanted on the Liberty resistant, on the non-Liberty resistant it did a fantastic job. But also what it did a fantastic job on were the weeds out here. We had a nice carpet of morning glories down there. This field's terrible morning glories, and that Liberty flat smoked the morning glories down beneath the canopy. Also, the few spots of grass we had out here did a fantastic job of that. So the problem's not with the drone, the problem is with our choice of chemical with what we actually had out here. Although, like I said, on the non-Liberty resistant soybeans, the Liberty did a fantastic job. It's just I had a lot different type of seed out here than what I actually thought. And also the drone did a phenomenal job. And I tell you what, you know, when the drones first came out, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, it just doesn't look like you can get a good spray pattern with it. I know they can get up in tight areas of the fields whereas crop dusters can't, but you know, I've had a drone do work for me like the last 4 years, and I've been extremely pleased with them. I mean, they do a great job. The big problem with the drone is that they're just slow, though. I mean, there's no question about it. They're slow. But if it's too wet to get in the field, they do a great job. If there's no crop duster available, they do a great job. If you got some tall corn that needs fungicide in a real small field that you can't get your self-propelled sprayer through, an airplane's not going to do a good job in. A drone's a great tool. I think just like a self-propelled sprayer, just like a crop duster, you know, a drone has got its place. And if I need a drone to do some work, I won't hesitate hiring somebody to do it, because they will do a good job. Will I buy a spray drone? No, because I can't utilize it enough to justify the cost. I mean, you're looking at $35,000 or so for the drone. Then you got to have the battery packs. You know, you probably need at least 4 battery packs at $1,500, $2,000 a piece. You need the charger, you need the generator. So no, I mean, our self-propelled sprayer does exactly what we need it to do in probably 97% of the situations that we face. You know, I paid a lot of money for it, so that's what we're going to use. But for those of y'all that need some custom work done and a drone is an option, I will tell you, don't shy away from it. It'll do just as good a job as any other tool out there, especially if you're not the one having to sit out there and baby it and fill it up and charge batteries and all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping to get this farm done before about 6:15, because me and Andy got to go work I think we're working the haunted trail tonight, not the zombie trail, but the haunted trail tonight. There needs a little extra help, and I'm hoping to get this farm done before 6:15, because that's when we got it cut out. I know I'm not having to dump a lot. I mean, this farm right now is averaging probably right around the high 40s, around 50, maybe low 50s if I'm lucky. Just not really good beans on this farm. Of course, this farm was in one of the most dry areas that we had this year here in Crockett County. And even though it's a fairly flat, nice square field, the soil type on this farm is not very good. It's got a lot of white ground, real heavy clay content. It's very poorly drained. And as soon as we get done with bean harvest, before we start cotton harvest, I'm gonna bring the ripper out here to this field too and give it a good ripping. And I'm gonna put some replicated plots in this field because we're gonna have corn on it next year. And I really expect to see some big things out of the corn on this farm next year with a ripping. As long as we don't suffer a drought or anything. So, but this will be the last field that we rip for the year. Just not gonna have time to do any other ripping after we get other fields harvested. Most likely, we'll be getting some more rain, and the subsoil will just be too wet to do an effective job of ripping. Hey, finally a morning we're able to get an early start. We didn't have to fix anything from the day before. It's been a while since that happened. But anyway, we're up here on the last of our full season beans over here on the Fisher farm. And if you remember from planting, all of the Fisher farm was supposed to be cotton. Well, we come in and tried to spot replant cotton on this farm in the bad spots, and the replanted stand was worse than the original stand. By the time that happened, it was too late to replant cotton for a third time, so made the decision for roughly about half of the 62 acres over here to just go with soybeans, and that's what we're cutting today. Now, we went with a 4.2 maturity, just trying to get the beans ready to cut before we pick cotton, because to access the cotton fields over here, we got to come through where we got soybeans, and obviously we didn't want to be trampling down soybeans that hadn't been harvested yet. Well, due to rains from 2 hurricanes, these beans were not in any hurry of getting dried down and ready to cut. They finally started turning yellow, but they were not going to be ready to cut before we picked this cotton over here, so made the decision to come in here and spray paraquat on them. Now, the reason we didn't have the drone come in on this farm is because, well, we already had wheel tracks in here from spraying a fungicide because frog eye came in pretty bad. And then also, because we had Delta Pine cotton on this farm, we had to come back with as-grow soybeans for the replant to get the replant assistant. And our only choices were a variety that was Liberty Link. That means it was resistant to Liberty. So, of course, Liberty wouldn't work on these. So, Gramoxone was our only choice on this. And when we sprayed these about 10 days ago, they were green as gourd. They were starting to turn yellow. The beans were mature. They were separating from the pod wall, but they were not in a hurry about drying down. And then, well, you can see right here, these are some, these beans are ready to cut. The beans are still a little damp. They're running about 15% moisture, but that's fine. We're gonna put them in the bin, blow some air on them, and dry them down. But they are cutting easy. We're getting a good sample back there in the green tank. A bunch of pearly white beans. Not a lot of green pods like what we were seeing last couple of days when we were trying to cut through the green spots on a replant. So really happy with the job the paraquat did. And I tell you what, that will become a standard practice for us spraying paraquat on full season beans, if it weren't for the simple fact that you're going to run over some crop and you're going to lose some crop. And you know, it can become an expensive proposition, but it does work fabulously well though. Now I know when we started cutting beans, I was talking about the damage we were seeing to the beans because of all of the rain. Well, because these beans were still green when those hurricanes came through, I mean, we're not seeing any seed damage at all. I mean, we got some top quality beans going in the tank right now. Now, it's not yielding the best. I mean, these are probably averaging about 40 bushels so far, but that's just due to the nature of being an early season variety that was planted really late in the year. Just didn't have the time to set yield like it would be if you planted it earlier. But they sure are easy and fun to cut. It's like kind of like cutting wheat beans after a frost comes in. Everything's dead and everything goes through the combine super easy. All right, and you see right there in that corner, and right there, you see those green spots? That's what this entire field would look like right now if it hadn't been sprayed with paraquat. You know, Andy just wasn't able to get that a little bit because of the electric pole right there and stuff. But if we hadn't sprayed these with paraquat, it would have been at least 2 weeks before they would naturally be ready to cut. And you know, like I said, with us right on the cusp of picking cotton, and this cotton gonna be ready to pick in about 7 days or so, you know, it just wouldn't have worked. It just wouldn't have worked letting them desiccate naturally. Well, normally I don't wear sunglasses whenever I'm filming, just because you know, better to interact with y'all, but I got them on for a reason today. Oh, you can tell, I got a black left eye. And no, it's not because Kelly caught me sneaking a honey bun at midnight last night. It was the result of some of the hazards of working a haunted house. Yeah, last night I was working outside on the trail, you know, in costume, getting after people, having a big old time. Had this one really good group come through. I mean, they was all screaming and falling down and everything else. Just what you know, us that work there, just what we like to see. And my mask didn't have very good visibility, and I ran smooth into a tree branch that luckily it didn't poke my eye out. It hit right above the eye. So last night was Friday night. I still got Saturday night and Sunday night to go. Hopefully I can be injury free for the next couple of nights. Well, we are shut down again, like 10 acres away from being done. This time it's something simple and something stupid. It's another vein. However, it's not the ones that we had problems with in corn harvest, which are a lot easier to access. Anyway, the vein we're looking at, well, it's not that one you can see there. It's on up past that. And there is literally no easy way to access it. We're right here at the very front where the rotor cone meets the rotor cage, and there just ain't, I can barely touch the tip of it with my fingertips, and same way same way with Andy. I mean, it's just back up in there. I mean, there's an easy way to access it, and the easy way to access it involves pulling the whole rotor out after you remove the feeder. So obviously we don't want to do that. I called my buddy Jacob, who works for H&R. He says he can reach it, so might try and get him out here to do that. I don't know why we're having so many problems with these veins. In all my years of running these axial flow combines, I think I've lost maybe 2 or 3 veins in like almost 20 years of running these, and then this year I had a problem with 3 of them. I think on this one though, the problem is the head just flat out wore off, and I think that's what caused it though, because it's one of the ones in the front that you just don't ever touch. So I'm so ready to get on a cotton picker. I say that now, and then I trade all these mechanical gremlins for electrical gremlins whenever we fire the cotton picker up though. All right, it's early Sunday afternoon. I got to get caught up on editing because I'm not going to have anytime probably here for the next couple weeks. So we're gonna go ahead and just wrap up this soybean harvest video. We were able to finally get the vane fixed yesterday. Got my buddy Jacob out from H&R. He gave us a hand, and it was kind of a booger to get to. We did not have to pull the rotor. The vane that was loose was actually here in the transition cone, so we pulled off that big half moon cover, and we were able to access it quite a bit easier. It was just in a kind of a funky position, having to lay on our belly right there to reach up in there and get the bolts back in. We actually had like 4 bolts missing out of there that I guess the heads just got wore off. But anyway, all that's fixed. All we like is, I don't know, maybe you know, 12, 13 acres of beans left. Surely to goodness we can get those harvested tomorrow without any more breakdowns. So anyway, tomorrow is definitely going to be a busy day. Going to have Carter on the ripper finishing up the ripping. Andy's going to be on the drill planting cover crops on the we're going to have cover crops on the beans that we just cut. Me and Kelly going to try and defoliate a little cotton first thing in the morning, and then we're going to finish up cutting the last of those beans. So hopefully everything runs smoothly. Not going to film any of it. We got enough soybean harvest content. Then after we get all that done, we got to get this beast fueled up, greased, water in there, wrap loaded, and be ready to pick some cotton, hopefully Tuesday morning. I just went and checked our first field of cotton that we're going to harvest. That was defoliated first, and man alive, she sure is pretty. Needs about another day, 2 days for bolls to open up, and man, she looks good. I'm excited about this cotton crop. Think we're going to have a pretty good one this year. So anyway, guys, we'll wrap up this video now. Appreciate y'all watching. See you in the next one, hopefully in the cotton picker.